411. Your parish. Did you know that flushable wipes are not safe for our sewage system? These wipes, while labeled as flushable and biodegradable, contain a percentage of plastic fibers that do not break down. Wipes that are labeled biodegradable may take weeks to disintegrate. When flushed, these wipes can collect, causing blockages called fatbergs that can accumulate in pipes, pumps, and lift stations, resulting in considerable man-hours and repair costs to the parish. St. Charles Parish wastewater officials estimate that 75% of their daily maintenance issues are the direct result of flushable wipes floating around our system. Consumers should place baby wipes, disinfecting wipes, sanitary products, and other disposable items in trash cans to keep sewage systems and their components working at optimum levels. And that's the 411 on flushable wipes.
Hey everyone, I'm standing at the St. Charles Parish Animal Shelter at 921 Deputy Jeff G. Watson Drive in Luling, Louisiana. We're unveiling our new microchip scanning station for our pets. This tool is going to allow us to have our residents help us reunite pets with their owners.
So I found this healthy pet walking on the street, and I want to see if she has a microchip that is attached to an owner. So I came to the local animal shelter, grabbed the scanner, check for a chip that is typically along the back, but this chip can also migrate to the shoulders and the chest. We found a chip.
Well, our animal shelter is always trying to innovate and better serve our community. This scanning station is just another tool that's going to allow our residents 24-hour access to help us reunite pets with their family members.
We can find what company is attached to that chip and get the owner information, such as the name and phone number, and try to reunite them with their owners before coming into the animal shelter. The other thing is sometimes people have a privacy alert on their information on their microchip. When this happens, this process looks a little bit different. The microchip company will tell the owner the pet is found, and they will provide the information of the finder to the owner so they can get in contact with each other to reunite that pet.
Our hope is that our residents use this tool behind me 24/7 to help us reunite pets with their families.
And just remember, if you found a pet, just hold on to that pet until you can properly check the pet into the animal shelter during business hours. It is a citable offense to leave a pet unattended at an animal shelter.
Calling all seniors. The St. Charles Parish Department of Parks and Recreation is rolling out a new program. Primetime Seniors welcomes local residents 55 and over to get in on this exciting new program that's just for our seniors. This new endeavor will combine classic favorites from our RSVP program with new and exciting activities and programs for parish seniors. The program aims to enrich the lives of older residents through a vast array of social.
And welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council meeting on Monday, March the 2nd, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and a pledge of allegiance from Reverend Carvin Smith with Philadelphia Baptist Church in Hunville.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we come to you once again on tonight, God. We ask that you would look upon this meeting on tonight, God. Father, that you would allow everything upon this agenda, God, to be done decently and in order. We ask, dear God, that you would have us to be able to love one another, God, to walk or to work in cooperation with one another. Let us have empathy with one another, dear God. Now, God, we ask that you continue to look upon this parish president and this entire cabinet, dear God, that you would continue to lead them and guide them, dear God, that you would allow this parish, dear God, to go to greater heights and deeper depths. Father, we ask now these and all blessings in the name of your darling Son, Jesus, and every believer would say, Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Smith. Approval of the minutes, regular meeting February 9th, 2026. A motion and a second are needed to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of February 9th, 2026. I have a motion by Ms. Wilson and a seconder by Ms. Fonseca. Please cast your votes.
Thank you.
And that passes unanimously. Special business, proclamations, canvass returns, etc. 2026-0071, proclamation, French Language and Heritage Day. And to present that, Mr. Willie Carmadel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whereas St. Charles Parish, Louisiana recognizes that the French language is vitally important to the identity and the culture of the people who settled this area of South Louisiana in the 17 and 1800s. Whereas we encourage all of our citizens to teach with great pride to our children all that they can about the French language, culture, and history that has made this area so uniquely different than other areas of the United States. And whereas we encourage our citizens to promote and speak French in public venues and family gatherings. And whereas we encourage our local business to do business in French or in bilingual French and English. And whereas we recognize that the French language has always been a vital part of the culture and economy of St. Charles Parish and is a multi-billion-dollar industry for the state of Louisiana. And whereas the Cajun dancers of Alamans Elementary School began in the mid-1980s, and Alamans Elementary educator keeps the tradition alive by continuing to preserve the Cajun dancers program. Now therefore be it resolved, we the members of St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President hereby proclaim March 20, 2026 as French Language and Heritage Day. And we have the Desalmans Cajun dancers, Miss Tanya Taste, Wendy Solomon, and Lisa Perrin here to accept.
Can't hide behind it. Just go right there.
I would just like to thank y'all all very much for having us come and accept the proclamation. We strive hard to keep on the Cajun and French culture here in our parish. So thank you for having us.
Some cute.
Ms. Perrin asked me to announce that they do also have an additional sponsor this year, Mr. Donald Markin.
What's that? Oh, yeah. There's a bunch of folks here. That's good that you, I wonder how many of these children are being taught to speak French. You think so?
At that particular school.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's
That used to
fantastic.
be part of their curriculum. Just kept it. I think it's like I don't know if they still teach but they teach. Right. Yeah. I think they do teach French. I thought they did specifically teach French. I think they do. My son learns Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
Well, that was refreshing. Item 2026-0072. In recognition, Vicki Carter, Board of Adjustments, and Ms. Skiba could present. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. The Parish of St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President deeply appreciate your years of service on the St. Charles Parish Board of Adjustment. Vicki Carter, District 2 Representative from December 7th, 2021 to December 7th, 2025. And I believe Ms. Carter is here to accept. Well, then we will get it to her.
Okay. Item 2026-0073, proclamation, Disability Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish. And again, Ms. Skiba.
Thank you, Chairman. Proclamation. Whereas the Arc of St. Charles is a nonprofit organization committed to providing services and support that enable people of all ages with developmental and intellectual disabilities and special needs to attain their full potential. And whereas the ARC strives to promote and maintain a high level of professionalism in all areas and to maximize all resources, human and financial, in the interest of helping all persons they serve lead fulfilling and rewarding lives. And whereas the ARC includes over 140,000 members affiliated through more than 650 state and local chapters across the nation. And whereas it is important that every individual and family affected by intellectual and developmental disabilities have access to information, advocacy, and skills they need to participate as active members of their community and to live an ordinary, decent American life. And whereas people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families are valued, respected, and included in all communities, they direct their own lives and can choose services and support from many available sources. And they are empowered through nonprofit advocacy. State and federal governments administer programs and set a budget that meet everyone's needs. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2026 as Disability Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish. Be it further resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby urge that the citizens of St. Charles Parish give full support to efforts toward enabling people with intellectual and developmental disabilities to live productive lives and achieve their potential. And we have the Board President Coy Landry and Vice President Donnie Hills and other members of the board here to accept.
Take a picture.
On behalf of the Arc of St. Charles and our Executive Director, Victoria Bryant, who's in the hospital right now. I think she might be out. She had a little problem, and we want to wish her well. But we especially thank you for recognizing the individuals that we work with. Also, Parks and Recreation, who partner with us and help us to accomplish many of our goals. We thank you for being with us on our mission. Thank you.
Hold on. We'll have another one. Item 2026-0074, proclamation, Arc Fest in St. Charles Parish. And again, Miss Skiba.
Thank you, Chairman. Whereas the Arc of St. Charles is a nonprofit organization committed to providing services and support that enable people of all ages with developmental and intellectual disabilities and special needs to attain their potential. And whereas the ARC strives to promote and maintain a high level of professionalism in all areas and to maximize all resources, human and financial, in the interest of helping all persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities and special needs. And whereas the 22nd Annual ARC Fest is the weekend of March 14th and 15th, 2026, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at both the West Bank and East Bank Bridge Parks. And whereas proceeds from the ARC Fest benefit the participants and services of the Arc of St. Charles. Now therefore be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do hereby proclaim March 14th and 15th, 2026 as ARC Fest in St. Charles Parish, and encourage all citizens in the parish to attend the festival at the West Bank or East Bank Bridge Park. And we have all of our ARC board members still here to accept.
Thank you very much.
Item 2026-0075, proclamation, Retired Teachers Day in St. Charles Parish. And the presenter is Mr. Rouillet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proclamation. Whereas Louisiana's retired teachers have devoted their careers to the education and training of tens of thousands of Louisiana's youth, and whereas Louisiana's retired teachers have provided job and social skills training for adults throughout the state, and whereas Louisiana's retired teachers have rendered valuable service in diverse leadership roles to their communities and institutions throughout their careers and continue to render such services as retirees. And whereas Louisiana's retired teachers represent the profession which is given the basic responsibility for launching the careers of state and national leaders, and for laying the foundation for the welfare of all members of our society. And whereas Louisiana's retired teachers have toiled ceaselessly to improve the quality of life in the state and nation, often in less than adequate circumstances and for less than adequate pay. And whereas Louisiana's retired teachers represent a tremendous pool of experience and training which remains dedicated to the betterment of society everywhere. And whereas Louisiana's retired teachers represent a loyal, patriotic, and concerned citizenry which provides dedicated and dependable support to the leaders in our community, state, and nation. Now therefore be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim Thursday, March 19th, 2026, as Retired Teachers Day in St. Charles Parish. And we have some officers here to accept. Mr. Billy Picard, Mr. Larry Sesser, Ms. Joette Sermon, and Mrs. Barbara Clement Wilson.
We also have Coy here.
Yeah, if he wants to join us in the photo. Any other retired teachers? Not yet. You have to wait.
Got a ways to go. Here. Look, Mitch said I get credit for it.
This time you get to be on this side.
Yes. On behalf of all of our retirees in St. Charles Parish, we have, just for your knowledge, we have approximately almost 1,000 people in the parish who receive benefits from the teachers' retirement system. That's not all teachers. That could be spouses, could be other folks. We have a couple members on your board, Michelle and Lysandra, who are members of our local unit organization. We have approximately, it's approaching 1,000 people in St. Charles Parish who bring in into the economy of our parish approximately $27 million a year. So on behalf of all the educators, not just our teachers, I want to say thank you on behalf of all of us for this proclamation, and thank a teacher. Okay, thank you.
Item 2026-0076, Proclamation Lions Month in St. Charles Parish. And Ms. Fonseca, could you please present that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proclamation. Whereas through services, Lions Clubs have impacted the lives of millions of people, and whereas the Lions engage our youth by helping to organize and participate in service projects, which may include school or community facility cleanups, or a visit to a home for senior citizens or a children's hospital. And whereas the Lions share the vision by planning vision health projects and working with the visually impaired by organizing vision screenings, volunteering at nearby Lions eyeglass recycling centers, and by organizing an eyeglass collection. And whereas the Lions relieve the hunger by organizing food drives and projects to feed the hungry, to help alleviate hunger by planning efforts to collect and distribute food. And whereas the Lions protect our environment by implementing projects that improve and protect the environment, which may include organizing a highway cleanup, planting trees, or planning a community Earth Day event. And whereas it is the desire of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President to bring this most worthy organization to the attention of the citizens of St. Charles Parish, now therefore be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do hereby proclaim March 2026 as Lions Month in St. Charles Parish. And we don't have anyone here to accept this tonight, but we will get it to them.
Thank you, Ms. Fonseca. Item 2026-0077, Proclamation National Kidney Month and World Kidney Day in St. Charles Parish, and I'll present that. Whereas kidneys are vital organs that remove waste and toxins, regulate blood pressure, balance fluids, and support overall health and wellness, and whereas chronic kidney disease, that is CKD, is a major public health issue affecting more than 37 million adults in the United States, and over 460,000 are in the state of Louisiana. Many individuals are unaware of this condition until it's too late, and whereas kidney disease is often caused by diabetes, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular disease, simple blood and urine tests can detect kidney disease, allowing timely treatment to slow or prevent its progression. And whereas March is known as National Kidney Month and Thursday, March 12, 2026 as World Kidney Day, and whereas the National Kidney Foundation of Louisiana works to raise public awareness about kidney health, provides kidney health screenings, and educates about the life-changing impact of living organ donation, and whereas the National Kidney Foundation of Louisiana aims to unite communities in advocacy, support, and education for individuals and families affected by kidney disease. Now therefore be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2026 as National Kidney Month and proclaim Thursday, March 12, 2026 as World Kidney Day in St. Charles Parish, and urge all citizens to prioritize their kidney health by getting tested, support those living with kidney disease, and consider the selfless act of becoming a living organ donor. We do not have anybody to accept this, but we'll pass it on to her. Okay, item 2026-0078, Proclamation, Problem Gambling Awareness Month. Whereas the National Council on Problem Gambling has designated March 2026 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and whereas problem gambling is a public health issue affecting millions of Americans of all ages, races, and ethnic backgrounds, and whereas problem gambling has a significant societal and economic cost for individuals, families, businesses, and communities, and whereas problem gambling is treatable and treatment is effective in minimizing this harm to both individuals and society as a whole, and whereas numerous individuals, professionals, and organizations have dedicated their efforts to the education of the public about problem gambling and the availability of effectiveness of treatment, and whereas the National Council on Problem Gambling invite all citizens of St. Charles Parish to participate in Problem Gambling Awareness Month, now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim March 2026 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish and encourage all citizens to support the National Council on Problem Gambling in their efforts to mitigate gambling-related harm nationwide. And we have Mr. J. Majorana to receive.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the Parish Council for inviting us for the proclamation. This is National Gambling Awareness Month and also in Louisiana Gambling Awareness Month also. My name is Jay Majorana. I work at two different clinics, River Parish Behavioral Health and LaFouche Behavioral Health, and I do the gambling program at both clinics. As y'all know, we do have a problem with gambling out there. You don't even have to get out your bed now to take and go gamble. You can do it on your phone now. So we really would like to invite y'all, if y'all know of anyone who would be interested in gambling program, we do have the programs. I'm available to take assessments, and I'd like to help some people out. So I thank y'all for y'all support. You have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Mariano.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mariano, I'd like to say I'm glad that we have people who do what you're doing. I knew a guy, this goes back about 25 years, that I'd worked with, a professional engineer, who went broke from gambling. So people need help, and I'm glad there's somebody to support them. Thank you. All right, reports, finance and administrative activities, 2026-0069, Department of Parks and Recreation, Edward A. Dufresne Center, Community Center, and Primetime Senior. And Mr. Foray?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council, Parish President Jew. Dwayne Foray, Department of Parks and Recreation. Our mission is to provide quality recreation programs, activities, parks, and facilities that allow all residents of St. Charles Parish to enhance their quality of life. We are currently funded by 2.71 property tax millage and supplemental funds from our general fund. We also have a recreation construction fund where a developer must donate 5% of the site area for the subdivision or a fee in lieu of that land. Over the last 10 years, we've only accepted land on one of those developments, and that happens to be Pretty Acres, where it was a split of land and funding. The others, we have taken the money and enhanced the closest park to the area. Our park structure as follows is 301 acres, 48 parks. That park represents parks, boat launches, multi-use paths, and our wonderful Edward A. Dufresne Community Center. If you look at some of the disposal of park land, and I know this is never easy, but we started to focus on quality instead of quantity. We've been able to transfer some of our programming activities for some of these underutilized facilities and enhance some other ones. Take, for instance, J.B. Martin and RJVL, where we moved our soccer operation from there to Ashton, and in Narco Elementary moved our operation from there to Bethune with the upgrades you see later on in the presentation. 2025 department highlights. Bethune Park project. New playground set, inclusive playground set, covered basketball court, parking, new fencing, batting cage, another batting cage that was funded by Narco Civic Association behind Field 2, and LED lighting on Field 1, and beautiful sign with a rendering of the school that once stood there, Bethune High School. Bonnie Care Spillway outdoor classroom that's very close to being complete. We had a $162,000 grant from Dow and an additional funding from Coastal Zone Management that funded that area. That sits in the front of the spillway where now we do Swamp School. We also have just applied for a grant with Louisiana Outdoors Forever, trying to connect our boat launch with the classroom that would extend probably about 500 foot of fishing and crabbing pier and lend itself during Swamp School to the activities and the teachings that we have within the community for those that attend. East Bank Bridge Park, I don't have to say a lot about this, wonderful new renovation, new pickleball, tennis courts, parking lot, new fencing, dugouts, batting cages that look fabulous, new basketball court, $500,000 funded by Valero, and some other grant funding by the state of Louisiana. Keller Street, new playground set with a new restroom. We are waiting that restroom to be delivered any day now. We already have the pad in place. This is another part that we have gotten rid of the Holy Rosary land, which was 7.3 acres, and we transferred those upgrades to a park closest to that. So very proud of this little area. And we still utilize Landry Field for flag football, and soccer. Levee bike path with benches. We have 9 spots on the East Bank and 6 on the West Bank, and eventually more will come on the West Bank. So this was a project that went on for about 8 years. We were finally able to get it done, and I thank you for your support on this project, which consists of a bench, seating on the levee, a bike rack, and a trash receptacle, as you can see. Monsanto Tennis Court resurfacing project that we finished in January this year. Our tennis program continues to be the envy of many in the state of Louisiana. We top out at 100. We had 100 participants now in the spring. We have a wonderful coordinator, and we've seen both our high schools, Deaf Strand and Hornville, benefit from our tennis program and recreation. Like they will benefit going forward from our girls' flag football, which they just introduced this year. Munch Drainage Project, we were able to do this in-house. I get Kenny and them, the guys did a wonderful job. We had some ponding around the restroom in the middle of that park. We were able to get some drainage done to alleviate some of that ponding. Very proud of that project. South Fashing, we had some new playground equipment. We redid the roof on the pavilion, restained the pavilion, and some signage. That adds a lot of value to that little neighborhood. What's new for our baseball and softball program? So after a couple years of going through the chartering process with Little League, we were able to get that charter in the fall of 2025. That consists of St. Charles and St. John parishes. When we first submitted our application, we tried to do the river parishes, St. Charles, St. John, and St. James. Unfortunately, Ascension had kind of taken St. James before we could get to the table. If you live in either St. Charles or St. John, you are eligible to play. Or if you live outside of that boundary and you come to school in St. Charles Parish, you're eligible to play. So we kicked that season off March 23rd. A lot of great feedback on that, so excited about this new chapter. And with that said, we, as many of you know, our long-term assistant director, Mr. Robert Brown, retired recently after 31 years of service in our department. And with that retirement, we were able to restructure. We were able to restructure some of the Booster Club duties and our recreation duties. So we hired a West Bank coordinator and an East Bank coordinator that work hand in hand with the Booster Club system, work hand in hand with the athletic directors in the middle school and sometimes elementary school, going there, being a mentor. So we have a place at the table and a better relationship with our school system since we have such a great user agreement with gyms and a swap of facilities. So that's been a big plus. And I know the buzzword around America is affordability. I'm happy to say over the years, through partnerships with New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, and RCX Sports, we've been able to save our participants a tremendous amount of money. So we just look at it. Example, flag football once was $65. We dropped that to $45, partnered with New Orleans Saints with the NFL flag. So that was a savings of about $11,000 to our participants. And then you take basketball, where we was 65, dropped it to 35 with RCX Sports and the Pelicans, savings of about $27,000. And this year, for the first time, taking baseball and softball, which was usually expensive, going from 65 to 35. Now, how does that transpire with the booster clubs? Well, we took over the registration, and then we took over some of the bulk uniform ordering. So we wanted all our kids to have the same experience, no matter where you live in the parish. So everybody will have the same uniform. It'll be reversible. It will say St. Charles. So we want to represent St. Charles throughout our parish because we're one community. And real excited about that. Real excited about the savings. I know families struggle, and they always talk about it's hard to make ends meet. The proof is in a pudding what we've been doing to try to accommodate those families where every kid and their family can participate. Primetime seniors, I know we had a lot of switching from RSVP going to primetime. People were a little nervous, but when we followed up with a meet in November to get some feedback, I basically said, promises made, promises kept. Here's what we did. Here's what we promised. Here's what we offered. We offered you to have better mental health, physical health, and social health. So we saw 200 new faces. Our indoor pickleball group, Mondays and Fridays at 98 now. Chair yoga, which has been tremendous. And the feedback was we don't want to do it one time, we want to do it twice. So we sought out funding from United Way through their health and wellness grant. They're funding a second day. Our high has been about 85. We average about 56 to 57 people on Tuesday and Thursday for chair yoga. Now we introduce cardio drumming, which is being popular, chair volleyball, and then just social gatherings that somebody may have lost someone, just to talk to someone and socialize. So improve their mental health, improve their spirit of their community. And then our Edward A. Dufresne Community Center, we had 570 events, 36 of those were private. A lot of those are government functions. We may start off with public works, safety training in the morning at 7, come back with adult weight training at 9:30, chair yoga at 11:30, and then we play basketball or volleyball in the evening. So in one day, you got a lot going on, but that's a good thing because we back to the numbers we had prior to COVID and Ida, 65,000. And look, take for instance this weekend, I didn't even touch about tourism and how we impact in the parish. If you go to the center of the river and draw a mile radius at East Bank Bridge Park, we had teams from Metairie host the travel ball tournament. We had 1,500 people there this weekend. West Bank Bridge Park, St. James High School softball held their tournament at West Bank Bridge Park. We had 2,000 people there. We hosted the Biddy Boys 9-year-old and 10-year-old championships. We had 1,800. So that's not counting soccer comp teams that probably had another 500. So just in that radius, you had 5,500 people come to the parish from Metairie down to Bayou, South Lafourche, Madisonville, Mandeville. So I want to thank y'all for y'all support creating that hub. Parish President Jew with his vision, giving us the ability to create that. And now you're seeing what we're talking about. And it would not be possible for the men and women that sit on that council that help us along the way. And in 2026, oh man. What happened? He said,
Slow down.
oh, Michelle was on the road. Well, it talks about 2026. Yeah, 2026 capital improvements. Starting out with our wonderful boat launch in DeZalman. Like I said before, many of you know, thanks to Willie for his support on that. 25-year, 30-year project finally coming to fruition. New Sarpy Park and Ama Park going out for bid at the beginning of April. Our dog park, which has been on the books for about 8 years also, finally coming to fruition. And then IMTT Park Playground. And then our sand volleyball courts that we'll talk a little bit later on in the ordinance today. So again, thank you for your support. Thank you for believing in us. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have on the report I just gave.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Dwayne, I have a couple of questions, but thank you for everything that you've done in reference to the parks, but the Keller Street Park. So you mentioned about soccer is still going to be going on. So will the schools be notified to open up the gate for parking?
Our soccer individuals has the key to open the gate so they don't park on the road.
Got it. Okay. And one more thing. I went to St. John Parish to their park to Thomas Daly, and they have a emergency box that dispatches straight out to the sheriff office. And given that we have the East Bank Park and the West Bank Park and so many of the visitors coming in, have we ever thought about getting that just in case something, hopefully nothing happens, but just in case something would happen, it dispatches straight out?
You talking about the AED box?
No, it was a box, a call box. And is that St. John at Thomas Daly Park?
I would say we talked about when you look at the close proximity of the sheriff's office from both East and West Bank Bridge Park, we usually don't have that type of problems. And some of the big events already have deputies on duty. Are we there? So, I mean, I hope it never gets to that, but we've talked about it, but we don't have anything in store. But we could definitely review that and get with you and see your path forward on that.
Okay, all righty.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Mr. Foray, I just want to thank you for all that you guys are doing. And it shows. You know, I drove past the East Bank Park the other day. Everybody was out parked on the levee and such. It was a big event. But in addition, I wanted to thank you for the work that you guys did to fix the 3127 boat launch. Some goomba
that was a big deal in West
I cannot believe somebody did that. Ripped
that was a good project. I'm grateful we were able to do that and get everybody fishing and hunting again.
And it was done quickly. And the other thing I wanted to say is I guess you call it the classroom over at Monte Carey. It's looking good. A question I have for you, though, is who maintains the actual dock?
We do.
I'll probably have to get with you. There are
we got a couple boards.
Oh, yeah. There's some that are pretty unsafe. But All in all, we've got a great facility out there, and thank you for what you've done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right, we've got 2026-0070, Parish President Remarks and Report, President Jew.
It's always fun going after Dwayne. Okay. Real quick, we're going to, just since the annual plan for CPRA is kind of moving through, they're almost pencils down on the annual plan, just to give you a brief kind of synopsis and a glimpse of what's inside. Obviously, from last year, they do talk about the rock project as well as the shoreline protection project, which was in La Branch, which was two big projects that are on Lake Pontchartrain side of the basin. Now remember, St. Charles Parish, for half the east bank is with the Pontchartrain Basin, and the south shore, or the west bank, is with the Barataria Basin. So we acknowledge there's a little quote in there about just how excited we are that this project is moving forward. Over $80 million of investment between those two projects, the Quipper project being close to 60, and the rock project being about 24 million. Okay. We have a lot of active projects in the plan. You can see the southeast region there. Just go ahead and skip to the next one, Sam. Just as another list, and I just want to list them out for you. We'll go to the table. Okay, we got the DeSalmans boat launch. Some of these, and I'll preface with some of these projects we are actively handling. Some of them are being handled by the Levy District, but they are all tied to St. Charles Parish in some way. So the DeSalmans boat launch, there's 1.8 million in the annual plan, so they're working that. Cousins Pump Station, we have 16.8 million. The Lake Salvador Shoreline Protection Project, that's $4 million of engineering and design. That is directly from the SHIELD plan. So when we were creating the SHIELD plan and we had to produce something for the annual plan, we worked with Royal. And so before the SHIELD plan was even finished, we were able to secure $4 million. That's a 1,500% return on our investment that we had last year. And we know that there's a lot more opportunity out there. That's going to be on the engineering and design again. The Bayou des floodgate, $91.5 million on that. When you look at Crawford Canal Pump Station / Sunset, $6 million. The Sunset Funnel Protection Project, another $5.5 million. Muntz Pump Stations, $11.6 million. I want to preface that this $137 million that's in the annual plan is not all in FY27. So it's spread out between FY27, 28, and 29. But we have $137 million in there. A real testament to the work that we're doing. And I think really as a parish, it's more north, away from the coastline, and having less issues than you see than some of our folks further south who are all the way down and on the front lines. I think we are doing a pretty good job of punching above our weight class, but we want to work really hard to get those numbers up even more and start securing some more construction dollars. We added a couple other projects that are in here, not technically in St. Charles Parish, but that we're actively monitoring very closely. So the Upper Barataria Basin Hydraulic Restoration / Mississippi River Diversion Project. We call that the Upper Basin Diversion. That's where the Davis diversion was supposed to go originally. And through negotiation and a lot of thought and a lot of argument, it got moved to where it is now. But we know we still need a diversion in that upper basin because we're seeing saltwater intrusion into that freshwater basin that is having a significant impact. I've talked to a lot of the fishermen out there. A lot of the fishermen who were once opposed to the Davis diversion are now understanding that we do actually need something to restore that hydrology from the Mississippi River into the upper basin. So we're going to be working on doing the study starting this year. That'll probably be a 2-year process in hopes that we can start getting an appropriation around fiscal year 2029 from not only the state but from Congress. So going to be working with that very closely. And that project's going to be looking at where along the river it's going to go, where the outfall is going to go, what size of a diversion it needs to be. But we'll be monitoring that very closely, and then working to get a project authorized through WRDA. Okay, Last week I had the pleasure of meeting with several of our parish presidents, along with our new mayor in New Orleans, Elena Moreno, and we just discussed a lot of the benefits that New Orleans as a city brings to the metropolitan area. And whether we like it or not, when New Orleans is successful, that success spills over into the region. So working with her to really develop a regional approach and working together to make sure that they're successful, we're successful, and that we all move forward together. But it was a particularly productive meeting, and I look forward to having more of them. In fact, we get to host the next one, so we'll be working with her and her office as well as the other parish presidents to make sure that we continue that. Okay, Public Works, after the parades and ensuring all the safety for those parades, Public Works crews stayed on site to clear the parade route and remove debris from both the Luling and DeZalman's parade routes. And we want to just say again, we sincerely appreciate those crews and all they do to make sure that those parades can happen and then get cleaned up afterwards. We had our annual Mardi Gras dance. Each year, Parks and Recreation is proud to host the Primetime Seniors Mardi Gras dance, as well as the Arc of St. Charles Mardi Gras Ball at the Edward A. Dufresne Community Center. Thanks to our Parks and Recreation staff, our Council on Aging, the United Way, the SCP School Foundation, who all go above and beyond to make both of those events very, very good each year. And I think for the Primetime Senior Mardi Gras dance, Dwayne, I think we had a record, about 400 people who were there, and we were not expecting that many, but it was a good problem to have. Okay, on to some infrastructure projects. Months 1 and months 2 pump stations are moving along. The concrete foundations have been installed along the levee, and those are going to provide basically where the discharge pipes are going to mount, as well as a road across the top of them, so both the Corps and others who have to utilize that access will be able to continue to utilize that. So there'll be somewhat of a safety bridge on top of that, those discharge pipes, which will be resting on a foundation on top of the levee. They're currently preparing rebar and forms for the frontal wall of the concrete sump. The front wall, the 2 outer walls, and 3 internal guide and separation walls will all be placed during a single major concrete pour to ensure structural integrity and efficiency. Additionally, 90 feet of frontal sheet piles with whalers have been installed to stabilize lateral loads and support the height of the levee throughout the construction. These structural components are critical to maintaining safety and the long-term durability as the work on this project progresses. Okay, our employees attended and completed a bloodborne pathogen safety training to reinforce proper procedures for handling potential exposures in the field. Obviously, we know that safety is our number one priority out there, and if there is an accident, we want to make sure our employees know what to do in that accident to make sure that they protect themselves and their coworkers while they perform essential services. Okay, Sunset Pump Station. We got a ribbon cutting coming up on March 16th. The bar screen cleaners are in place. That project has been closed out. March 16th at 10 a.m. We're going to be wrapping it up with our ribbon cutting. If you recall, we removed about 70,000 cubic yards of dirt from the canal, which has widened it significantly, and then added the bar screen cleaners, which will prevent in the future having our employees and crews having to manually use an excavator to do that, which in many cases has been hazardous in high winds or lightning. So this is our last major station that does not have bar screen cleaners, and now we're glad to have that. And we built it and constructed it in such a way that when we do the new pumps and engine upgrades at Sunset, that this station and the width of the canal and everything will still be able to feed those pumps. Okay, Trash Bash 2026. Mark your calendars for the 18th. Our Trash Bash event is going to be on Saturday, April 18th, starting at 8:30 a.m. Registration for the event will open on Monday, March 9th, online at www.stcharlesparish.gov/trashbash. We'll put out some more information on that in the days and weeks to come. Volunteers signing up for Trash Bash can choose their own cleanup site or be assigned a cleanup site. Equipment will be distributed the week of Trash Bash. After the cleanup, participants will return their equipment and post event and a post-event celebration will take place beginning at 11:30 a.m. at the Edward A. Dufresne Community Center. Swamp School registration. Get ready for another fun year of Swamp School. This is always a big one that fills up really quickly. Registration will open beginning at 12 a.m. on March 7th. That's Saturday, March 7th, 12 a.m. If you're not up at 12 a.m. to register, your kid's not getting in. I'm going to be honest with you. It's just not going to happen because it fills up really quickly. So sleep in late that morning and stay up late that night because you're going to have to do it that way. Registration for the week-long camp costs $200 per child. Registration for each subsequent session will open each Saturday in March. www.scpparksandrec.com for more information. Camper registration takes place again on a first-come, first-served basis. The Department of Parks and Rec will also release information regarding other summer camp opportunities in the coming weeks. The Veterans Memorial Plaza brick price reduction. So in honor of America 250, throughout this year, our commemorative bricks for veterans at the Memorial Plaza will be reduced to a price of $50. They were regularly once $150. Bricks can be purchased in honor of a veteran or in memory of a loved one who served. This is a meaningful way for St. Charles Parish families to ensure that their veterans' legacy lives on in our community, or for a local business to get involved as we mark our 250 years as a nation. Residents can download an order form at www.stcharlesparish.gov/bricks. They can come to the courthouse and get a brick form, or they can also go to the Parks and Recreation Department and receive an order form. Last but certainly not least, sales tax. In January, we're up 14.5% from January of last year, a total increase of $578,552. That's a great start to the new year. We hope that continues.
Mr. Dew, a quick question. The funding for the CPRA annual plan?
Yes.
The Bayou des Allemands floodgate, it's $91.5 million. I take it that's both engineering and construction cost, or is it?
The project's already engineered.
It is engineered. Good.
Yeah, but that is the current estimated cost of the construction of the floodgate. There is an additional part of that project where you would create a tieback / kind of a heavy haul road that would kind of act as a tieback and levee system back to Highway 90 because the full alignment has a reach of earth and levee from our floodgate that ties all the way into Matthews and Lafourche. But in the interim, because we don't know how long it's going to take for that section that is going to be built by the Corps to be built. So there's another $50 million component to this project that will also be tied to it. So you're looking at $150 million total for the tieback and the floodgate.
In the approximate start of construction for this?
They are saying breaking ground this year. I'm not overly confident on that. If I was telling you that we were managing the project, I would be very confident on that. But the levee district is the one doing that. I think there's some permitting issues they have to get past. So they don't have a permit in hand yet, and so I wouldn't be talking about a start date until there's a permit in hand.
Wise man. Thank you, President Jewell. Okay. Got it. Ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication, public hearing on Monday, March 16th, 2026, 6 p.m., Council Chambers, Courthouse, Hanville. Items 2026-0082-0083-0087. Ordinances scheduled for public hearing introduced at a previous meeting. 2026-0043. An ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of change order number 1 for the raw water intake structure access bridge pile replacement. That's project number WWKS 112 to decrease the contract amount by $2,370. And Mr. Gordon, if you could present.
Good evening, members of the council, Parish President Jewell, Greg Gordon, Director, Department of Waterworks. So, yes, this is The reduction in $2,370 basically is the deletion of a borrowed material backfill and compaction work item from the portion of the project. Originally, they were going to bring in fill and other fill and backfill it, but the native material was good enough to utilize and met the compaction rate. Excuse me. And so hence the reduction. And the project went very smoothly.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. File number 2026-0043 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2026-0043. And that passes unanimously. Okay. Item 2026-0059. An ordinance approving and authorizing the parish president to execute a polling place lease agreement with the Bible Center Church for use as a polling place for District 2, Precinct 3 of St. Charles Parish. Mr. Oob, could you explain?
Thank you. This is the standard lease form supported by the Secretary of State for our polling locations. You'll see it's for a 3-year term with an automatic 1-year renewal, and there's a set rate established by the Secretary of State of $150 per month for this location. $150 per election, for this location, and we ask for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Oob. File number 2026-0059 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2026-0059. And that passes unanimously. Item 2026-0060, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a professional services agreement with Principal Engineering Incorporated for the West Bank water treatment plant plant construction project number WWKS 118 in the not to exceed amount of $4,814,099. And Mr. Gordon, again.
Good evening, members of the council, Parish President Jewell. So the professional services agreement encompasses the design of a new 4 million gallon a day plant E on the vacant land, which is on the West Bank plant, to consolidate controls for plants C, D, and E in a new control room, bunk, kitchen, laboratory building, construct a centralized chemical feed building, and improve the existing bulk chlorine storage, and construct an additional bank of service pumps, and to plan for the demolishment of plants A and B. The new Plant E will replace Plant A, which was constructed in 1951, and Plant B, which was constructed in 1962, and utilize up-to-date treatment technology. The parish administration secured $3 million in state capital outlay funding to assist with the design costs. If the parish president wants to get into that, he can. The partnership with the state garnered through the successful capital outlay award is vital to the project because it can provide an important source of future construction funding for this major improvement. The successful construction of Plant E will provide the citizens of St. Charles Parish with a modern facility to provide safe drinking water for the foreseeable future. This is quite a large legacy project, so to speak. We also have Mr. Minot from Principal Engineering here if you have any questions regarding the agreement. I am here to answer any questions. I don't know if Parish President Jewell or anybody else.
Mr. Jewell? Let me go through the public hearing part first. File number 2026-0062 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, Public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Ms. Fonseca?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Parish President Jewell, you may have been about to answer this, but I'm wondering on the ballpark cost estimate that you used to derive the not to exceed amount?
You can go
Yes,
into that,
yes.
but we did run this contract through our engineering department. for all
Yes.
this.
So, and as part of the agreement with the state, the Division of Administration, we needed to provide them with a fairly detailed construction cost estimate within the paperwork that you'll receive. I think in the state agreement, which was one of the attachments, it does state the amount. It is, and I can provide you with our total estimate that was done, more detailed estimate, not just the total figure. But it did come out at $49,835,250. So roughly $50 million.
Okay. I just wanted to have it known publicly what we feel the estimate is at this early stage.
Yes.
And I don't believe that that was included in our agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It might have been submitted, but sometimes everything that's submitted doesn't get.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Fonseca. Mr. Jewell?
Yeah, I just want to say we're looking at a roughly $50 million project here. This is one of those projects where you get your engineering and design completed, and while you're working on that, you start working on trying to secure these allocations and appropriations, both state and federal. We know this is going to be a multi-tiered project that's going to utilize several funding sources. If you recall, when we worked on our new contracts with our consultants, both federal and state consultants, this was a specific outline or call out in their scope was to work on a funding strategy for this plant because we know how important that it's going to be, and we know how important it is to get started on that right away. I do want to say a shout out to our state consultant who last year was able to secure us the cash from the state that's going to cover the cost of the engineering. That was a big win for us because otherwise we would not have had the money to be able to go and engineer a project like this. So, like I said, it's a good opportunity, and we're going to work really hard to get some appropriations. There are some opportunities that we found through the Corps of Engineers 219 program, which covers all water types, whether it's wastewater, water, and some drainage type projects. So we're looking forward to getting to work on this and also getting to work on funding this thing because we have a very high standard for water in St. Charles Parish that we've always had. And I sometimes think we don't do a good enough job telling the residents what quality that we are delivering to them. When we look at what we produce and what we distribute into our water system versus what we see in, say, New Orleans or other places in the state. I shouldn't call anybody out by name. I'm sorry about that. But we really do have a good product, and we want to keep it that way. And the way you do that is by continually investing in the infrastructure that makes that happen. So we're excited to get this underway, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Mr. Carmadell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Gordon, in the contract, this does say that they're going to be inclusive to all supplemental services as designed. Is that correct?
Yes.
I know we have several projects where we use various engineers, but I'm just wanting to make sure I'm understanding it.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's always good for construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carmadell. Appreciate it, Mr. Garden. Did I screw up? Not get the public hearing?
Yeah, you did. So now it's time for the vote.
Sorry.
It's time for the vote.
Gotcha. All right. Any council discussion further? If not, please cast your votes for file number 2026-0062.
0060.
What's that?
0060.
Sorry. Very true. 0060. That's why I wear glasses, I think. Apparently not very good glasses either. Okay. Now, 2026-0062. An ordinance to amend the St. Charles Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Elections, Section 8-2, Visible Voting Precinct Boundaries in Polling Places to provide for a permanent change of polling place for Precinct 2-3. That's Miss Skeever, do you have something to present?
Yeah. This is just a formality for the resolution that we approved at the previous meeting.
Okay. File number 2026-0062 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussions? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2026-0062. And that passes unanimously. In 2026-0066, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a contract with Centric Gulf Coast Incorporated for the EADCC Sand Volleyball Courts. That's project number PRSV 2025 in the amount of $660,000. Mr. Foray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council, Parish President Jew. Yes, as we continue to develop the raw land behind the community center, this is a added amenity that we feel strongly about. This will give us the ability to add our youth programming and adult programming. The sand volleyball courts consist of 4 courts, fencing, and lighting. So I would ask for your support, please.
Thank you, Mr. Foray. File number 2026-0066 is now open to public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Let's see here. Ms. Fonseca first. You're first? Mr. Bruyette first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a question about the bids, because I saw that there were 2 pages, and on the first page, Centric Gulf Coast had $874,000, and then on the back page there was another. I can't read the name, but $726,000.
That was with the ad alternate. We chose not to do the ad alternate, which was an additional pavilion kind of between the current spray park and volleyball courts. So once we took that out, they happened to be the low bid.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it was about.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruyette. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm thrilled to see yet another amenity be added to this site. Last term, we had the Veterans Memorial Plaza and the spray park, and this is exciting to see a sand volleyball court, and hopes it continues to be prioritized. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fonseca. No further council discussions. Please cast your votes for file number 2026-0066. And that passes unanimously. Okay, persons to address the council. 2026-0084. Mr. Victor Bucola wanted to speak, but he has withdrawn his request to speak tonight. Resolutions. 2026-0067, a resolution adopting the St. Charles Parish Shield Plan, stabilizing habits through infrastructure, ecology, and land defense. Mr. Jewell, could you please explain?
Thank you, Chairman. As I mentioned earlier, the Shield Plan was our coastal document, which we decided to put together last year. It's the culmination of a lot of work between the parish administration, the council, the public, and planning and zoning office, especially Marnie and Clay and all those folks who've also had a hand in it. What it did was outline projects for the parish to help us kind of raise our hand and shout about the coastal restoration needs in St. Charles Parish that we kind of felt weren't being acknowledged. I can't say that this was my idea alone. I looked at the amount of money that places like St. Bernard were getting for projects, and it was because of the work that they had done, organizing themselves, creating a document, creating a list of priorities, and handing that over to CPRA to get those projects included, not only in the annual plan, but the master plan. So right now, we are working with the SHIELD plan to get all of our projects included in the CPRA master plan. You saw earlier that we had one project that was included from that plan into the CPRA annual plan, and our CZAC has adopted this plan, and now we are coming to you to adopt this plan as well, so that we put on a united front to CPRA to show them that St. Charles Parish is demanding that we receive attention too, and that we have coastal priorities and projects that are in need. So I would appreciate your support. I do have Marnie and Clay Lede here who can also help answer some questions on this as well.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. File number 2026-0067 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Mr. Carmadell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Matt, Marnie, the team, I just want to say thank y'all for putting this together. This is very well prepared as a display. You know, I work on these type of projects across the country, and, you know, having this document when we go to war for money versus other places is really going to help. You know, it's really well put together to represent our needs. So just thank you to everyone who was involved in it.
Thank you, Mr. Carmadell. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also wanted to thank you guys for your efforts on this. I think it's just a great idea for us to have this, because the funding sources that we used to utilize to do these type projects, some of them no longer exist. So this gives us a leg up trying to get the funding through the state level, CPRA. So appreciate y'all and Parish President Jewell, your efforts sitting on the CPRA board to try and help funnel some funding towards our parish for these projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fonseca. Seems like we have no other council discussions. Please cast your votes for file number 2026-0067. And that passes unanimously. The next item, 2026-0068. A resolution recognizing the floodplain management plan led by the Planning and Zoning Department. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I realize this opens up by saying it's a floodplain management plan, but as you look into the therefore portion, it also says floodplain management planning effort. And overall, that's really what this is. It's bigger than just a plan. What we are doing here is creating a document that is intending to reduce flood losses going forward by following a specific process set forward by FEMA. We have existing things in place. We have a floodplain management plan. We have a master drainage plan. We don't have all of those things consolidated into a document that can be bureaucratically recognized by FEMA. This effort is designed to activate that document, to have it in place, and if you notice in your agenda, the entirety of the Section 510 Floodplain Management Planning Summary is in there. This is the rubric by which we attempt to score points on, and in doing so, this should, from what my staff informs me on, should reduce us by almost an entire grade if we achieve the metrics set up here. So just like the SHIELD plan before, we are very much trying to lean forward into some of these projects that will use government to better things in residents' lives through funding and reduction of costs. All of the stuff you're seeing here is essential for scoring in that FEMA rubric. We would appreciate your support. I have Marnie here with any specific questions about the plan or process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number, File number 2026-0068 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address and for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussions? Mr. Jewell.
Well, everybody knows I'm not a fan of FEMA flood insurance, and they know how people know how broken that I know it is, and I'm not afraid to tell FEMA that it is. But this is one of those bureaucratic programs that you just have to participate in, because every time that we move up a grade, and for those of you at home watching, you have a score 1 through 10. 10 the worst, 1 the best. Each time you move up is an additional 5% discount on your base premium. And then there's this complicated methodology that no one will really explain or show to us that gets you to your full premium. And we're still fighting on that to find out about what that is. But we were an 8 when I came into office. We did a couple of small things that helped us move to a 7. We've been working really hard ever since to move down, and I'm very confident that if we pass this tonight, that we will be able to move up once again, and hopefully skip a grade or two when we get there. Marnie is working really, really hard on this, and Clay as well. And what I'll say to you is that it's not, some of these things aren't overly hard. It's just so voluminous, the amount of stuff that you have to go through. So one of the things that we did, in fact, this was after one of our NACO trips, National Association of Counties, we went to an event or a seminar where we heard from Pinellas County in Florida. And they were, I think, a CRS rating, well, they were a 3 at the time. And I had never heard of anybody with a 3. Jefferson Parish was the best we had at a 5 in Louisiana. And when I found out they were a 3, I said, we just have to talk to them. So Marnie and I and Michael sat down with them and listened to how they got there. We got some good information from them. I think they're now at 2, Willie, if I'm not mistaken. So we're trying to be like Pinellas, and we're trying to get those things in place. So we get graded, Marnie, once every 5 years? Once every 5 years. So hopefully after we move up in this one and get another 5% discount for our residents, we'll be able to catch up to Pinellas County in 5 years. So we'd appreciate your support on this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. I'd like to thank Marnie, Clay, Michael, and the parish president, anybody else who's involved in this, because this is a big deal for residents. You know, flood insurance is expensive. Anything that can reduce it is a good thing. I get questions from people asking me the mechanics, and I try to explain it, but I'm sure I don't do a very good job of that. But you guys are doing a good job to dive into the mechanics and get this thing done on our behalf, so thank you. Okay. All right. File number 2026-0068 is now open for public comment. I already did that part. Getting tired, buddy. So, we've had our council discussion. Nobody's left. Please cast your votes for file number 2026-0068. And that passes unanimously. 2026-0080. A resolution endorsing a waiver from Appendix C, Sub subdivision regulations of 1981, Section 3, geometric standards, C, lots, 1, size, B, width, as requested by ICG Investing, LLC, and Blake Lorio. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This application is a basic lot line adjustment between lots 25A and 26. The alteration shifts a lot line in order to establish a proper setback for an existing structure. Currently, the lot line touches the building edge. In doing so, one of the resulting lots will be slightly below the minimum width. The department has no objection to this, as the setback corrects and improves a safety situation. The Planning Commission approved this request pending this waiver decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2026-0080 is now open to public comment. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussion? Seeing none, council discussion closed. Please cast your votes for file number 2026-0080. And that passes unanimously. Next up, 2026-0081, a resolution in support of the Planning and Zoning Commission approval of 2026-1-SPU for automobile fleet services in a C3 zoning district on Lot B2, Almedia Plantation, 150 Almedia Plantation Road in St. Rose, specifically a waiver from Appendix A, Section 8, Item I, .3.A, as requested by GM Elite Company. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This request is to review the waiver attached to the special permit use for fleet services in C3. The requested use would allow for an office and fleet services of large semi-trucks and equipment at the site. The application meets a majority of the special permit use requirements with the exception of the minimum landscaping threshold. The Planning Commission approved this request, including the waiver, contingent upon the supporting resolution of council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2026-0081 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening. My name's Tammy Dennis. Address is 106 Kennedy Street, St. Rose, Louisiana 70087.
Excuse me, ma'am. Is the mic working? Okay.
Is that better?
Much
there
better,
we go.
Much better. And I can't hear a thing.
Do you need me to repeat that? Are we good?
Yes.
I reside in Almedia Plantation. We call it Turtle Pond typically, but we have a problem with that situation going up at the front of our neighborhood. We already have a business that has built on the edge of Almedia Road, which hinders some of our getting in and out of our neighborhood. There's railroad tracks. We are located in between 2 railroad tracks already. And since that business has built at the very front, it's very hard. It's substandard streets. So it's basically like 1 lane to get in and out. I also drive a school bus for the parish. There's several of us that live back there that do drive a school bus. It is very hard to get in and out of our neighborhood already. Earlier this year, there was a dump truck that accidentally took out 9 electrical poles, which left us without electricity for over 8 hours. And we had to, I think it was by 4-wheeler, escort one of our residents out who has the oxygen tank because she couldn't have power to her oxygen. Along with that, it's just the poles, the electrical poles that are being changed around our parish. The company came in, the edges of our roads are caving in. We already have a flooding problem that on a bad rain, we have flood streets. So it's just been such a hassle already. And our concern is with this narrow roadway, we only have 1 way in and out of our neighborhood. So to put a company that has heavy equipment on our roads that are already decaying, we have more problems that we can't get to our homes a lot of times. So if that's just something y'all can keep in mind, I appreciate it.
Thank you. If there's anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Joseph Prescott. I live at 119 Kennedy Street, and I do oppose this because, like Tammy said, we have one way in, one way out, and anytime there's a problem, we can't even leave our home or go to our home. I have heart problems. A lot of our neighbors have medical problems, and when the streets shut down, y'all put heavy equipment coming in and out, our one way in and one way out. What are we going to do? You know, it's not feasible for our neighborhood. Thank you.
If there's anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
All right. My name is Carrie Cook. I live at 122 Kennedy Street. I have lived in that neighborhood my entire lifetime. We have seen over the years with the businesses that have come to the front and have built closer and closer to our homes, the lack of drainage. We have one little bitty ditch not properly dug out. Don't even know the last time it was dug out. So as all of these businesses, as you're entering Almedia Plantation, sit on the right, there's nowhere for them to drain. They only drain across Almedia Plantation into this little bitty ditch. Every time it rains hard, we completely flood. The entire Almedia Plantation floods. Now Kennedy Street will flood every single time. So if we bring in this additional business, especially with large semi trucks that our roads can't even handle, I'm convinced that our drainage cannot handle it either. We're opposed to it. I know we have several other residents here, people who actually own our homes, not just rent. I know there's a lot of renters back there, but who own our homes and keep this neighborhood a very vital part. On top of that, I do drive a school bus as well. We have had multiple issues, and when that dump truck pulled down all of our power poles, let me just add that that was there for one of those businesses. It wasn't just passing through and did it. It is where that dump truck parks. We were stuck in our neighborhood, I think it was about 8 hours. We could not exit, we could not enter. The only way to do that, as they said, was to try to figure it out ourselves for emergency purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If there's anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Feaster. I live at 106 Johnson Street in St. Rose, which is the Almedia Plantation subdivision. I've been there like 48 years. The place has been there even longer. I think it was built in the 60s. So think of the streets. When I first moved back there, it was rocks. Now it's pavement, but it's all caving in. You can go look all along it, and especially when that company came and we had to go to the sides are caving in. I don't know how we got looked over with this new, when y'all did all the subdivisions, the new roads, but we were looked over. But it's not wide enough for 2 vehicles to go through. 2 cars have to slow down. So 2 big vehicles, one usually stops and lets the other one around. I also drove a school bus, and I'm retired now, but I drove in there also. I lived there and kept it there, but I also drove in there. And some of the ditches are, you got to really go into the other lane to get to them. Coming into the subdivision, the same way. My husband owns a boat. He's a commercial fisherman. You cannot turn directly. You have to wait for another vehicle not to be there so that you can turn in, because that big building built a building and a fence and everything, so you can't even see right there. It's very dangerous. And they have to go into the other lane in order to get in. So any trucks that would come in there, it's going to have to do the exact same thing. I hope y'all really think this over. I've been there a lot of years. I own a lot of property in there. I don't want to go nowhere. That's my home. But please think about the people that's been there for so many years. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Tina Monica. I live at 131 Kennedy Street. I am also a resident in Almedia Plantation. We have also had issues with our sewage backing up, the flooding of the main road coming in, our streets are caving in. I oppose to this. I really hope y'all take that into consideration because it blocks us in and out of our neighborhood all the time. Least little bit of rain, we're flooded, we can't get in or out. If you're in a regular little car, there's no way you're coming in. You're gonna have to park at racetrack in the front and beg someone to come get you that's in a big truck. If they can get in and out. So if y'all could please consider all of that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If there's anyone else who would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, my name is Betty Swest, and I live at 155 Kennedy Street in Almedia Plantation. I've been there since 1989, and I own property back there. All the reasons have been stated that we are against having this business at the beginning of our subdivision. The only thing I can add is the safety of the children that run in the streets and ride their bikes. And I just can't believe it. An 18-wheeler can even get in there and get back out on the road because the railroad track is right there. And you can't see because of that big brick building there on the corner. So I am definitely opposed to it, and I hope you take that into consideration on the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If there's anyone else who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Any council discussions? Transfers. Mr. Brouillet?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Couple of questions. Is there something that's currently there right now? No. Okay. And if this would be approved, a traffic impact analysis is going to be required. What would be involved in that as far as, and then would that be something that the business would handle?
I'll defer the specifics to Mr. Bingham on what their reviews. All commercial businesses have to go through the traffic impact analysis process before a permit can be issued. In general, they determine if improvements have to be made on the streets or intersections, but I'll leave the details to Mr. Bingham.
We haven't even gotten to the point where we're doing a traffic impact analysis. This is up front. We have had a pre-application meeting on this project, and that's as far as we've gotten. We're aware of the project. They will have to do a traffic impact analysis, which will have to show us the amount of traffic, the type of traffic, and all the turning radius and so forth. And, I was just looking at that on this map. I can see what the people are talking about. So there will probably need to be some changes for them, improvements, to if they're going to bring that type of big truck in there, because if the road is as narrow as the people are explaining it to be, that's going to be a problem with that type of truck, and they're going to have to make those changes to accommodate that.
So all that would have to be done prior to.
That would have to come through our office and be approved, yes, to get their permit.
But as far as the changes to the roads would have to be done before the building could.
Yes, ma'am.
Go on. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Brouillet. Can you finish? I'm sorry. Okay, Miss Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I could not overstate how disappointed I have been in the land use plan, being a citizen participant, and later finding out how this properties in front of it have all been ticked off as M1, industrial, when that area was supposed to be, hotels and other things that typically come off the interstate. But that's where we are. So, In conjunction with this particular street, however, there is a C3 property, and that's what this is zoned, and that technically usually would be reserved to a state highway. And this is not on a state highway. This is on a basically substandard 20-foot wide street. Council Chair Pele has dash cam video of a tractor trailer trying to make a right into one of the buildings, and it takes up the entirety of the street as it's making the maneuver. Now, when we talk about improvements, and we're going to do traffic study later, and possibly we can improve this street, here's the other problem. These residents, and there's over 100 residences back here. This is not just a few people. These residents suffer from systemic flooding. And we all know that the swale ditches that are back there are more efficient than covering those ditches with culverts. So to improve this, because there's no more land left, they would have to increase the probability that the drainage problem would become worse. We're not quite there with providing relief to these residents with a new pump station. That's in the works. It's not quite there yet. But we're looking at a special use permit that's requesting a waiver, and I'm throwing up a red flag and say no, because these residents do not deserve having to deal with that kind of traffic that we don't have to imagine. We know it happens. We've already had it happen. They get stuck back there frequently, most recently for several hours at a time. So I know that traffic study wouldn't necessarily be done, but we also have a waiver in front of us right now that could go ahead and provide relief to these residents that are already jammed up back there. School buses, regular residents trying to get to work. We got 2 railroad tracks in there. These people are jammed in. And whose fault is that? Well, unfortunately, that's the fault of the people of the council that never spoke up for these residents before. They ignored them. And when this happened, even at Planning and Zoning Commission, that representative said nothing about the problems that these residents face. And that is why I ran for office. And that's why I'm here to say maybe it's not going to work, but we have some waivers here that need to be voted on. And I'm respectfully requesting a vote of no.
Thank you, Ms. O'Daniels. Mr. Fisher.
I think Ms. O'Daniels summed it up pretty well. I have concerns. I'm looking at the planning department use. I'm looking at the Department of Public Works. Mr. Bingham expressed his concerns about the traffic analysis report. The Alameda Plantation Drive is a 40-foot right-of-way improved with approximately 20-foot asphalt surfaces. Open swale ditches is located along the south side of the right-of-way and overhead utilities along the ditch. Again, the master drainage plan identified this area, that it needs significant work. We've got some projects in there, but I don't see anything coming from this applicant or anything for the permit to even help our residents. Our residents have testified that they have got flooding problems. We've seen it. You yourself have seen it. I know Mr. Daniels has seen it. I've been on several fires back there and saw the problems we have for it. So I'm in agreement with Public Works with the concerns. I just don't think this is a good use of C3 property. I really don't. And this area has been an ongoing issue for this council, previous councils, and the councils before us. So, I mean, we want to try to make things better for everybody. We want to bring, businesses in. We want to make sure that our residents are not flooding. I think this one's going to be tough for me to support it. So, I'm where I'm at right there. So, thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Ms. O'Daniels again, second time.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I keep forgetting. But I wanted to point out that the analysis that was actually done by the Planning and Zoning Department, it's really not their fault. We have a C3 provisions, and in that C3 provisions, they provide all kinds of different things, and we're working on those ordinances to clean those up and make them better to understood. So under the C3, they can jump through the hoops, check the boxes. But we know you guys are more than just checking a box. And we know that there's some complicated issues back there. And that's why I'm speaking out to address this. It's not because the department is trying to ignore anything. They're following the ordinances as written, but then there's, the fact that they're looking for a special use waiver as well as some waivers gives us the opportunity to put that personal feel onto and give give these additional facts to the council to let them know what your challenges really are. So thank you, Michael, for working on this, and I look forward to working on C3 in the future.
Thank you, Ms. O'Daniels. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Albert, I'm just curious, do you know the history on how this became a C3 property? Was it formerly one big lot that got subdivided?
I do not
No,
know
no?
on this, no.
Okay. I mean, I realize this is just a waiver for landscaping, but I'm of the same mind as Councilman Fisher and Councilwoman O'Daniels. I don't think I can support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fonseca. I had actually been a person that I got to see something. I got to have a feel for what I'm looking at. So I read all the documents. I looked at the maps. It looks pretty cool. So good. But I went there, and there was this tractor trailer truck parked on the side of the road. The ditch was on his right-hand side because he was pointed away from Almedia Road on the Plantation Road. By the way, that's not a state highway. That's just a road. That's basically a residential road. And so I went all the way to the back, and I saw where you guys live and turned around and came back and waited. Took some pictures. All this was on my dash cam. And so I gave copies over to Mr. Daniels because I was kind of shocked to see what I saw next. The guy backed up, and it's the only way he could have turned into the property at the paint company, whichever the name is. And he practically went in the ditch with his wheels. Not good, just not good. And then I look at the requirements, so C3 is highway commercial. This is not a highway, first of all. And one of the allowances that's provided here in the code is automobile fleet services. Well, I don't think a tractor trailer truck is an automobile, nor is it a fixed, frame, enclosed truck, nor is it a pickup truck. So I got some problems with that. But furthermore, when I read the document that was presented, and the Department of Public Works expressed concerns regarding potential impacts from heavy vehicle traffic on Almedia Plantation Drive. A traffic impact analysis will be required during permitting if this special permit use is approved, and improvements may be necessary based on its finding. Two problems with that in my mind. We're putting a cart before a horse. We're asking to get this basic approval of the special permit use, and then we go back and do the work that supports what this special permit use is all about. And the second one is, if we find that it does require improvements on this road, who's going to pay for that? Guess who? The parish does. So I have some problems with this, and basically I struggle with this a lot, and I'm certainly not in support of it. Thank you. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to say that I agree with most of what council members who have spoken today said, especially with Ms. O'Daniels, especially about being jammed up back there. Over the course of the years, and we talked about it when I came into office in 2020, that we wanted to have smart planning, and this is an example where we did not have smart planning, where we have a residential neighborhood and allowed for non-residential activities that got built up around this neighborhood. So I think it's important that, and I'm glad that in this case that the special use permit was required that allowed this council to have a say-so on this issue. And just particularly because I know a lot of folks spoke about drainage. We did receive a lot of grant money to get some drainage work, and we are working on a new pump station in Turtle Pond. So I just wanted to mention that is ongoing. It'd be moved up to a new location. We're working with DOTD on where we would place that pump station, but it'd be a much, much bigger pump station that would provide a lot more relief for the community. So I just want to let you know that that is in the works.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Damn. Mr. Mobley.
Is there anyone in the audience from GM Elite Company? They're the ones that asked for this special use permit. But here we have all of these residents from that subdivision, and nobody here from GM Elite Company. Maybe they just don't care whether it passes or not, but I have to vote against it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mobley. If there's no other council discussion, please cast your votes for file number 2026-0081. And the motion fails unanimously. All right. Appointments. 2026-0016, a resolution appointing a member of the River Parish's Transit Authority. Council Chairman will accept nominations to the River Parish's Transit Authority to fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of the term of Mr. Emile Broussard III. One member appointed by the Parish Council, chosen from a list of nominees. One is submitted from the River Region Chamber of Commerce, and one is submitted by the AFL-CIO. Term to begin immediately and expire January 9th, 2028. The term is concurrent with the governing authority, that's us, deferred from February 9th, 2026 Parish Council meeting. So consequently, each commissioner must be domiciled within the parish from which he or she is appointed. I take that that meets the qualifications here. We have two people who have been submitted. First, by the River Region Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Nick Nasser. The second by Louisiana AFL-CIO, Mr. Jarvis Claiborne. If any council members would like to provide a nomination from the above, please request to speak. Once recognized, please unmute your microphone, state your name and nomination for the record. Ms. Fonseca?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to nominate Mr. Nick Nasser.
Mr. Nick Nasser?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Fonseca. Are there any other nominations? If not, I need a motion and a second to close the nominations. There's a motion by Mr. Fisher and a seconder by Mr. Carmadell. Please cast your vote to close the nominations. And that passes unanimously. Okay, 2026-0044. Accept the resignation of Mr. Ed Griffin, St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission District 3 Representative. That was deferred also from February 9th council meeting. Please cast your vote to accept the resignation of Mr. Griffin on the St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission District 3 Representative. And that passes unanimously. Item 2026-0045, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Planning and Zoning Commission as the District 3 representative. Council Chairman will accept nomination from the District 3 council member to fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of Mr. Ed Griffin. Expired term to begin immediately and expire May 31st, 2029. Being that that is my district, I'm going to nominate Mr. Stephen Dorand. A motion and a second is needed to close the nominations. We have a motion by Ms. DeBrouillet and a second by Ms. O'Daniels. Please cast your vote to close nominations. And that passes unanimously. Item 2026-0085, accept the resignation of Mr. Huey Marcel, St. Charles Parish Communications District, representing Emergency Medical Services, Hospital Service District Number 1, Parish of St. Charles Board of Commissioners. Please cast your vote to accept the resignation of Mr. Huey Marcel on the St. Charles Parish Communication District, representing the Emergency Medical Services, Hospital Service District Number 1, Parish of St. Charles Board of Commissioners. And that passes unanimously. 2026-0086. A resolution appointing a member of the St. Charles Parish Communications District representing emergency services is requested by the Hospital Service District Number 1, Parish of St. Charles Board of Commissioners. On Monday, March 16th, 2026, Council Chairman will accept nomination provided by the Hospital Service District Number 1, Parish of St. Charles Board of Commissioners representing emergency medical services to the St. Charles Parish Communications District to fill the vacancy caused by the resignation of the term of Mr. Huey Marcel, unexpired term to begin immediately and expire August 19th, 2026. Meetings, announcements, notices, etc. Meetings. Lafourche Basin Levee District, Wednesday, March 4th, 2026, 6 p.m., Lafourche Basin Levee District Office, 21380 Highway 20 in Vacherie. Planning and Zoning Commission, Thursday, March 5th, 6 p.m., Council Chambers. Communications District 911, Monday, March 9th, 5 p.m., Council Chambers. Coastal Zone Advisory Committee, Tuesday, March 10th, 12 p.m., Council Chambers. Community Action Advisory Board, Wednesday, March 11th, 2026, 5 p.m., Council Chambers. Floodplain Management Steering Committee, Thursday, March 12th, 2026, 12 p.m., Council Chambers. Pontchartrain Levee District, Monday, March 16th, 2026, 6 p.m., Pontchartrain Levee District Headquarters Complex, 2069 Railroad Avenue in Lutcher. St. Charles Parish Council, Monday, March 16th, 2026, 6 p.m., Council Chambers. Adjournment. A motion and a second is needed to adjourn. We have a motion by Mr. Carmadell and a second by Ms. O'Daniels. Please cast your votes. And that passes unanimously. Have a great evening. We're officially adjourned.